Hello and welcome back to another AP3 video. And in today's video, we're gonna be doing SAT math problems, but more specifically, we're doing hard questions. And we're doing hard questions because a lot of people, when they go to module 2 in the math, they think module 1's easy. They go to module 2 and they're like, what is this type of question? And the questions that we're gonna be going over in this video are those type of questions a lot of people don't know or don't understand what to do. And a lot of these questions, not all the time, but most of the time they always pop up. It just repeats itself because that's what College Board loves to do. Bring back old questions to newer SATs, depending on which one you take in October, December, or even in March. But in today's video, it's more specifically for the October SAT of 2024. The question asks the following: what is the positive solution to the given equation? We're given 2 and the absolute value of 4 minus x plus 3 to the absolute value of 4 minus x, which equals 25. And they're asking for what? The positive solution, or the positive x value. So let's rewrite the equation first. So we're given 2 absolute value of 4 minus x plus 3 with the absolute value of 4 minus x, which equals 25. So if we notice the equation, we can see that there's 2 absolute values of 4 minus x. So we can combine like terms to get 5, the absolute value of 4 minus x, which equals 25. And if we divide 5s on both sides, over here too, the 5s cancel out on the left side, so we're just left with absolute value of 4 minus x, and then 25 divided by 5 equals 5. So we're left with the absolute value of 4 minus x, which equals 5. Now, before we do anything, what is absolute value? Absolute value is basically any variable or number, and the absolute values makes it a positive number. For example, if I have absolute value of negative 49, it's going to be positive 49 if it's negative. And if I have absolute value of 100, the absolute value will still be positive 100 because absolute value just makes any number positive. So it can even be a constant. If I have negative x cubed, that equals positive x cubed. You get the gist of it. Absolute value just makes any number or variable positive. So we are left off with 2 x values, either if it's negative or positive, to find the answer. So let's break the absolute value of 4 minus x equals 5 into 2 equations. We get absolute value of, actually no, my mistake. We get 4 minus x, which equals 5, and then 4 minus x, which equals negative 5. But before we do anything, let's solve for the x values and see which one gives us a positive solution. Let's do the left side first. If I move the 4 on the left side, so we subtract 4, I get negative x, which equals 5 minus 4. And then subtracting 4 from 5, we get negative x equals positive 1. And then we multiply everything by negative 1. By negative 1, or just multiply everything by negative, we get x by itself, which equals negative 1. They're asking for a positive solution of the x value. Is x positive? No, it's negative. So this is not the side we're looking for. Therefore, the right side, or the second value of x, should be the answer. Let's solve for it. So we have 4 minus x equals negative 5. If I add or subtract x on both sides, I get negative 5 minus 4. Combining like terms, I get negative x equals negative 9. Multiply both sides by negative, I get x equals 9. And they're asking for a positive solution. Therefore, x equals 9 is the answer. Let's plug that into absolute value to make sure the answer works. So I have absolute value of 4 minus 9, which equals 5. I'm left out with absolute value of negative 5, which equals 5. And because any absolute value turns positive, the absolute value of negative 5 is positive 5, satisfying the equation, meaning that x equals 9 is one of the answers. Okay, let's do a question that actually repeated itself in the August SAT. In the given equation, k and n are constants and n is any value greater than 1. The equation has no solution. What is the value of x? What are they asking for? No solution. And what does no solution mean? It basically means that all x values in an equation cancel out our y value, and we're left out with 0 equals a constant. For example, if I do x equals x plus 1, I'm left off with 0 equals positive 1, no solution. Tell me if you see a pattern. If I do x equals x plus 27, I still get 0 on the left side, which equals 27. If I do x equals x plus 1,000, I still get 0 equals 1,000. Where am I going with this? What I'm going with it is that if x values cancel out, regardless of what constant or number, if the x value cancels out, it will still be no solution. I'm not saying that, oh, you don't need a constant. The constant can be there, but it doesn't matter when it comes to no solution because the x values cancel out. The constant can be anything, but it'll still be no solution. So let's rewrite the equation given. 2 multiplied by k x minus n equals negative 28 over 15 x minus 36 divided by 19. So what are the constants for this question? Well, n is any number greater than 1, so it's a constant, and then minus 36 divided by 19 is a constant. So we don't need them because it could be any constant and the x values cancels out. It will still be no solution. So we can rewrite the equation as 2kx equals negative 28 divided by 15x. Remember, I didn't take them out because, I subtracted or divided or most anything. I just took them out because all we're looking for is the k value to make this equation equal no solution regardless of what constant value or number. So because we're looking for k, as it says here, what is the value of k? We can do 2 multiplied by kx equals negative 28 divided by 15x as a regular equation, as k can equal x, or k is the variable we're looking for. So if we divide both sides by x, and then multiply by 1x over here, the x values cancels out, and I'm left with 2k, and the x values cancel out here, and I'm left off with negative 28 divided by 15. And if I divide 2 on both sides, I get k equals negative 14 over 15. And that is the value we're looking for, the k constant. But let's get k, plug it into this equation, and make sure the statement is true. Because if x cancels out, the k value makes the whole equation no solution regardless of what constant. So if I have 2 negative 14 over 15 x equals negative 28 over 15x, if I multiply 2 on the left side, I get 2 multiplied by negative 14 divided by 15x, which equals negative 28 over 15x. 2 multiplied by negative 14 equals negative 28, and we get negative 28 divided by 15x, and equals negative 28 divided by 15x. And as we can see, both values equal the same, and if I add both sides with the same amount, I get 0 equals 0. And if we plug that into the first equation, we're going to be left off with negative 2n, which equals negative 36 divided by 19. Because the x values cancels out, it's no solution. Therefore, the only way for this equation to be no solution if k equals negative 14 divided by 15. Okay, let's do a different question now. In the x and y plane, a line with the equation 2y equals 4.5 intersects at exactly 1 point. If the parabola has an equation y equals negative 4x squared plus bx, where b is a positive value, what is the value of b? Remember, when it says it intersects at 1 point, that basically means that the slope of the first equation and the second equation are different, and it intersects at exactly 1 point. If they have the same slope, they go in the same pattern, and if they're different, they never intersect. So let's rewrite both equations. We have 2y equals 4.5. And if we isolate y, we get y equals 2.25, and we divide both sides by 2. And then we get the second equation, y equals negative 4x squared plus bx. So let's plug in y to the second equation. I get 2.25 equals negative 4x squared plus bx. And if we move 2.25 on the left side, we get our quadratic equation, which 0 equals negative 4x squared plus bx minus 2.25. in order to figure out at what point of the parabola does it intersect at one point, we got to use the discriminant formula, or discriminant rule, sorry, which is b squared minus 4ac. What does this tell you? What does it give you? Well, we're given a quadratic equation, obviously, which is written as ax squared plus bx minus c. And as we can see, our a value equals -4, our b value just equals b, and our c value equals -2.25. So we can plug into the discriminant formula to see where it hits at exactly one point. But before we do that, what does the discriminant formula give us? It gives us how many solutions are in one equation. So if b minus 4ac equals 0, that's one solution. If b squared minus 4ac equals or is greater than 2, that is two solutions. And if it's less than 0, that's no solution. So equal to 0, one solution. Greater than 0, two solutions. Less than 0, no solution. Or 0 solutions. So let's rewrite that in the discriminant formula with the quadratic equation now that we know our a, b, and c values. We can rewrite it as the following. B squared, b equals b. So in this example, so b squared is just b squared minus 4ac. Our a value is -4, and our b value, our c value, sorry, is multiplied by -2.25. So we do -4 multiplied by -2.25, we get a positive number. What is that positive number, I'd be asking? That is positive 9. That is positive 9. So we get b squared minus 4 multiplied by positive 9, which equals 0, because 0, if it equals 0, it tells us that it intersects at one point, and that's what we're looking for. So multiplying both numbers, we get b squared minus 36 equals 0. If I move 0 on the right side, I get b squared equals positive 36. And we find the square root of 36, we get b equals plus minus 36. What are they asking for? B as a positive constant. Therefore, b equals 6. And if you plug that into the equation, the second equation of -4x squared plus bx, you should be able to realize that because they have different slopes, or they have different slopes, they intersect at one point. Okay, this looks like a hard question, but if you know the single rule, you can solve this question instantly. In the given equation, a and b are positive constants. The product of solutions to the given equation is KAB, where k is a constant. What is the value of k? So we're given a huge equation, 57x squared plus parentheses 57b plus ax plus ab equals 0. What are they asking for? The product of the solutions. So, and this is where the rule comes in, so this is important. Product of solutions is basically where I have, again, a quadratic equation. So ax squared plus bx plus c. And how can you look for positive solutions? If we divide the c and the a value. So c divided by a equals product of solutions. And it's written in quadratic equation. 57 is a, the whatever is in parentheses is b, and the ab is c. So what can we do? Well, if they're asking for product solutions to the given equation is k equals ab, so whatever is c divided by a equals kab, which is the sum of the solutions, the product of solutions, the multiplication. We get b, which is ab. We get c, sorry, which is ab. So we can rewrite that as ab. And the a value is 57. So this equation happens that I wrote in the bottom because we know our product of solutions rule, and we understand how to use the equation or the rule. So all we have to do now is solve for k. If I divide both sides by ab, multiply by 1 dividing by ab, I get k by itself because these cancel out, and the AB's cancel on the right side. I get k equals 1 divided by 57, and the answer here is A. Now, if you don't know that rule, you have to solve this the algebra way, and you gotta do so much multiplication, addition, subtraction, and multiplication. But if you know that rule, this question can be solved in less than 30 seconds. Okay, let's do a different question again. The mean score of 8 players in a basketball game was 14.5 points. If the highest individual score is removed, the mean of the score of the remaining 7 players becomes 12 points. What is the highest score? So we're given that there's two means. There's one here and one here. How do you solve mean? Remember, mean is the average of the total value of numbers divided by the total numbers used. So we're given that the mean of 8 players is 14.5. So the mean or the average is 14.5, which equals the total number of points scored over the amount of players, which is 8. And if you multiply 14.5 by 8, you get 116. And we can do the second equation now. We're saying that the highest individual is removed and that the remaining score of the 7 players is 12.5. So we get 12, which is the average or the mean, equals the number divided by 7. So we gotta look for the value of the highest score, but we gotta figure out what is the total number used for the second equation. Well, if it's the total value, all we have to do is multiply 7 on both sides and we get 84. So the total value equals 84. As we can see that when there's 8 basketball players, the total number is 116. Because I removed one individual, I have to subtract 116 minus 84 to see our highest score removed. Because if 7 players remaining, the score obviously decreased, as it says here. It went down to 12 points. So we have to figure out the highest value, and the way to look for that is subtracting 116 minus 84. And if I do 116 minus 84, I get 32. So the answer is C. Why, you might be asking? Well, if I have 116 points and a total score of 7 players is 12 points, we can see that there's a decrease in the average, so there should be a decrease in the total value of all the numbers combined. And because the total number of the second equation, or the red, is 84, it obviously went down. So if we do minus 84 by 116, we can see the value decreased by 32, causing the 12 points. So the highest score that was removed is 32, because if I subtract 116 minus 32, I get 84, which is the total number of scores that the players made. Okay, let's do another question. The table summarizes the distribution of age and assigned group for 90 participants in a study. One of these participants will be selected at random. What is the probability of selecting a participant from group A given that the participant's at least 10 years of age? So what are we looking for? We're looking for the probability of selecting a participant from group A, obviously. But there's important information here. We're given that they're at least 10 years of age. What does that mean? Anybody that's 9 years or less does not matter. So this whole section right here, we can all erase or just scribble out. We're looking for from 10 years of age and higher. So, but this is important though, because part of it is removed. That means the total amount, which is 90 original, is not the total amount anymore, because we removed literally a whole section. So the total amount of anybody at 0 through 9 is 30. Therefore, the total value of 90 is now 60. So I'm going to draw that in red over here. It's 60. And that means group A, B, and C also decrease. We can see that anybody that is 10 or older is 23. Anybody older from 10 up in group B is 24. and anybody in group C is 13. And if we add those numbers, we get 47 plus 13, which equals 60. So the numbers do correlate with the total value. And if they're asking what is the probability of selecting somebody from group A, the answer is 23 over 60. Because we would use the whole graph, but because we're told or given that they're at least 10 years of older, we can use anyway that's 0 through 9. Okay, before I start anything, I wrote two things on the sides: congruent and similar. What does that mean? Similar is basically where two angles have the same angle measure, but the side lengths are proportional. So if I have an equilateral triangle and all sides equal 60, equal up to 180, that's a similar triangle. But if one angle or the side length is 111 and the other side is 333, they're proportional because one is 1 and you multiply that by 3, we get 333. So it's similar. Congruent is where the angle measures and the side lengths are equal. So all is equal. That means that the angle measures and the side lengths equal each other. So similar is when the angle measures are the same, but the side lengths are proportional, and congruent where everything equals the same. But how can we determine that? For similar, if it's angle, it's similar. If it's SSS, it's similar. If it's SAS, it's similar. What does that mean? Angle, side, and side, angle, side. For congruence, a little bit different. You need the sides to be equal as well. So it's again side, angle, and angle, side. It's important for this question, and you'll see why. In the triangles ABC and DEF, so two different triangles, so I'm gonna draw them right here. ABC and DEF. So what are we given? We're given that B and E equal 27. And E 27. And we're given that CF equals 41. And they're asking us if there's any more information needed to determine if ABC is congruent to DEF. The answer is yes. We're only given two angles, and if we go from ABC and DEF, so we go from A to C and D to F, we only have angle, which only makes it similar. So we need more information, so basically D is incorrect. And to make it congruent, let's see if A works, the measure angle of A. Well, if we have the measure of A, that will only be similar. We don't have any other side, so therefore A cannot be correct. And plus, it doesn't even tell us what D measures in terms of angle measure. So if we don't have D, we can't even determine they're similar, because if we're only given A and we're not given D, D can be any number. But because we're given two angles on the DEF, we can determine it. And because angle is only for similar and not congruent, it's only a similar triangle. Therefore, A is incorrect. The side length of AB. Well, if we have the side length of AB, let's say 1, we're given SAA. But it doesn't work either. In the congruent side, it has to be with two angles, either angle side angle or AAS or angle side, going from A to B and D to F. Therefore, B is incorrect as well. Meaning that the only answer is C, because if BC equals 2, and EF equals 2, that creates a angle side angle, looking at from A to C and D to F. Because B equals 27, E equals 27, BC and EF equal the same side, and C and F have the same measure, meaning that this is an ASA or an angle side angle triangle, and that piece of information is needed for it to prove that ABC is congruent to DEF. Okay, this question should be really simple if you understand this one concept that I'm going to show you right now. Point O is the center of a circle. So let's draw a circle. We have center O. O is the center. The angle measure of RS on the circle is 100. So an arc is RS, R and S, and the Angle measure is 100 degrees. What is the measure in degrees of its associated angle ROS? Now, this is where the rule comes in. If the arc angle measure is 100, the center, which is O, should equal the same. Therefore, if the arc measure RS, the angle measurement, is 100, the middle, which is the center O, should also equal 100. So the angle measure of ROS is just 100. See, easy as that. However, if they give you like a diagram, and the circle more so looks like this, a circle, but O is over here, and then we're given arc measure RS, and it's 200. The center is just divided by 2, so it just equals 100. So in this example, O is twice less, 200 is twice more than the center, in this case O. Okay, let's do the last question. The length of a rectangle's diagonal is 3 to the square root of 17, and the length of the rectangle's shorter side is 3. What is the length of the rectangle's longer side? So let's draw our triangle, because that's what's given, obviously. We're told the diagonal is 3 to the square root of 17. Notice is how I create the diagonal line. There's two triangles. That's important because, as we know, in the shape of a square and a rectangle, we have 4 right angles. So we have 4 right angles in a rectangle. And because we have 2 triangles and there's a right angle in one of the sides, this creates a right triangle. And the shorter side equals 3, and the longer side we're looking for is x. So we can redraw this as a right triangle, with the longest side being the diagonal line or the hypotenuse, as 3 to the square root of 17. The shorter side equals 3, and we're looking for the longer side. All I did was redraw it as if there was 2 right triangles, but I'm only using 1. Because they will give you the same value. Because a rectangle has 2 sides that equal the same, and another 2 sides that equal the same, one longer and one shorter. And the formula to use for this question is to the Pythagorean theorem, which is a squared plus b squared, which equals c squared. C is always the longest value, or the diagonal line of a triangle or right triangle, or the hypotenuse, which equals c, with c equals 3 with the square root of 17, and a and b are the other 2 legs. So we can make a equal 3 and b equaling x. So we can write the equation as 3 squared plus x squared, which equals 3 multiplied by the square root of 17 squared. Okay, so now we multiply everything squared. We get x squared plus 9 equals, and if you do 3 multiplied by the square root of 17 squared and plug it into a calculator, you'll get 153. Remember, College Board or the SAT, you're allowed to use either a calculator or the decimals calculator in all questions now, because it's digital, not paper-based anymore. So if we subtract 9 on both sides, I get x squared, which equals 144. And if we find the square root on both sides, x is by itself, and the square root of 144 is positive or negative 12. That means that x equals positive or negative 12. But because all a and c are positive, that means that x has to be positive as well. That means that x equals 12. And that is the side we're looking for, because it's the longer side, not the longest, but the longer side of the equation.